Good day, this is G. Together with Mom Abby, we're going to discuss about the analysis part of the BAI. First, let's discuss what is analysis. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, analysis is the separation of a whole into its constituent parts. Analysis in research, it is the process of breaking up the whole study into its constituent parts of categories according to specific questions under the statement of the problem. There are two ways of data analysis, the qualitative analysis and the quantitative analysis. The definition of research in data analysis. What is data analysis in research? The research data analysis is a process used by researchers for reducing data to a story and interpreting it to derive insights. The data analysis process helps in reducing a large chunk of data into smaller fragments, which makes sense. Why analyze data in research? Researchers rely heavily on data as they have the story to tell or problems to solve. It starts with a question, and data is nothing but an answer to that question. But what if there's no question to ask? Well, it is possible to explore data even without a problem, and we call it data mining, which often reveals some interesting patterns within the data that are worth exploring. Irrelevant to the type of data, researchers explore their mission and audience's vision guide them to find the patterns to shape the story they want to tell. One of the essential things expected from researchers while analyzing data is to stay open and remain unbiased towards unexpected patterns, expressions, and results. Remember, sometimes data analysis tells the most unforeseen yet exciting stories that were not expected at the time of initiating data analysis. Therefore, rely on the data you have at hand and enjoy the journey of exploratory research. What is qualitative analysis? Qualitative analysis is concerned with the analysis of data that cannot be quantified. This type of data is about the understanding and insights into the properties and attributes of objects, such as participants. Qualitative analysis can get a deeper understanding of why a certain phenomenon occurs. The analysis can be used in conjunction with quantitative analysis or precede it. Unlike in quantitative analysis that is restricted by certain classification rules or numbers, qualitative data analysis can be wide-range and multifaceted. It is subjective, descriptive, non-statistical, and exploratory in nature. Because qualitative analysis seeks to get deeper understanding, the researcher must be well-rounded with whichever physical properties or attributes the study is based on. Oftentimes, the researcher may have a relationship with the participants where their characteristics are disclosed. In a quantitative analysis, the characteristics of objects are often undisclosed. The typical data analyzed qualitatively include color, gender, nationality, taste, appearance, and many more, as long as the data cannot be computed. Such data is obtained using interviews or observations. Examples of qualitative analysis. Qualitative analysis focuses on why. Why do people behave in certain ways? Why do they make decisions? Qualitative analysis and research methods often include these examples. 1. Focus groups. 2. Questionnaires and surveys. 3. Interviews. 4. Unstructured observations. For example, like reading social media posts. 5. Expert opinions. Qualitative analysis tend to look very deeply at a few things to understand the why. Now let's discuss about these examples. For the first example, focus groups. Focus groups are a form group interview that capitalizes on communication between research participants in order to generate data. Although group interviews are often used simply as a quick and convenient way to collect data from several people simultaneously, focus groups explicitly use group interaction as part of the method. This means that instead of the researcher asking each person to respond to a question in turn, people are encouraged to talk to one another, asking questions, exchanging anecdotes, and commenting on each other's experiences and points of view. The method is particularly useful for exploring people's knowledge and experiences and can be used to examine not only what people think, but how they think and why they think that way. Next is questionnaires and surveys. Qualitative surveys use open-ended questions to produce long-form written or typed answers. Questions will aim to reveal opinions, experiences, narratives, or accounts, often a useful precursor to interviews or focus groups as they help identify initial themes or issues, then explore further in the research. Surveys can be used iteratively, being changed and modified over the course of the research to elicit new information. Here are some examples of surveys. First is the face-to-face survey. Researcher asks participants one or more open-ended questions about a topic, typically while in view of participants' facial expressions and other behaviors while answering. Being able to view the respondents' reactions enables the researchers to ask a follow-up questions to elicit a more detailed response and to follow up on any facial or behavioral cues that seem at odds with what the participant is explicitly saying. Second, telephone surveys. In telephone surveys, similar to the face-to-face method, but without researcher being able to see the participants' facial or behavioral responses to the questions asked. This means the researcher may miss the cues that would help them ask further questions to clarify or extend participant responses to their questions and instead relies on vocal cues. And lastly, the online surveys. In online surveys, it is the open-ended questions are presented to participants in written format via email or within an email survey tool. Online surveys can collect a greater number of responses in a great or set period of time compared to the face-to-face and phone survey approaches. Next is interviews. Interviews collect in-depth content in a one-on-one setting that can be used to better understand a topic or issue. Let's say you're planning on conducting a survey measuring worker satisfaction in your company. Before creating your survey, it could be beneficial to conduct interviews to gain some context of the company culture, working conditions, and other concerns that are specific to your company or area. Interviews also give you the opportunity to ask follow-up questions, to read body language, and pick up on another subtle cues that a more quantitative research method might not. In addition to learning more about the topic, interviews can also be used to create case studies and gather expert opinions. Observational research. This approach involves observing customers or people in their actual element. A perfect example would be watching shoppers while they visit your store. How long does it take them to find what they're looking for? Do they look comfortable interacting with your staff? Where did they go first? Then second, when do they leave without making a purchase? These real-world observations can lead you to findings that more direct forms of research, like focus groups and interviews, would miss. Lastly, expert opinions. Many people use expert opinions to gain informed insights on a particular topic. For example, you may be interested in learning about a topic that you don't know much, like survey best practices. In this case, you're probably best conducting a few interviews with experts on the subject. In this way, you can ask several open-ended questions and receive the high-quality information needed to better understand the topic. For additional notes, qualitative analysis fundamentally means to measure something by its quality rather than quantity. When we do qualitative analysis, we are exploring how we describe something. Very often, we cannot use numbers or numerical expressions to describe those things. When we do qualitative work, we work with descriptions. We work with feelings, thoughts, perceptions. We attempt to understand motivations and behaviors. Now, let's talk about the quantitative analysis to be discussed by Ma'am Abby.